The hidden powers of the chosen ones have always been shrouded in mystery, existing in a realm where reality and the supernatural blur together, yet remaining invisible to ordinary eyes. These powers are not something they flaunt openly because they understand the weight of secrecy and the danger of exposure. For centuries, the chosen have learned how to blend in with society, to move quietly among the crowds without raising suspicion, because they know that the moment their truth is revealed, fear and misunderstanding will follow. But sometimes what is hidden cannot stay hidden forever. Technology, with its unblinking eyes, is everywhere, and cameras now occupy spaces once considered private and sacred. The very tools designed for protection or convenience can sometimes serve as the betrayers of great secrets. The walls of their own homes become the stage upon which their powers reveal themselves. Captured without intent, but undeniable to anyone who watches. Imagine a recording where lights suddenly flare without a switch being touched, glowing with a strange energy that cannot be explained away as faulty wiring. Imagine furniture sliding across the room as if moved by an invisible force, objects rising into the air before dropping back to the floor, leaving behind evidence that gravity had no control over them in those moments. Picture shadows stretching, unnaturally bending and twisting like living things, as if they respond to the will of someone unseen. The chosen do not always perform these acts deliberately. Sometimes their power responds to emotion, to danger, to the presence of energy around them. In those moments, the cameras become witnesses, storing footage that no skeptic can deny. Those who later review the footage, expecting to see normal, mundane activity, instead encounter visions of power that shake their sense of what is possible. Fear rises instantly because what is revealed is not a trick, not something that can be explained away with logic or science. The evidence is too raw, too real, too vivid to be dismissed. And so, the chosen, who once carried their gift silently, find themselves suddenly exposed in ways they never intended. The recordings act as undeniable proof that human beings walk the earth with abilities far beyond the natural. No explanation can cover what is seen when objects move on their own, when voices whisper from nowhere, when the presence of energy is captured and felt through the screen. This exposure transforms everything. For the chosen, it means a loss of control over how and when their powers are revealed. They can no longer choose silence or secrecy because the recordings spread faster than rumors, copied and shared until too many people have seen them. For the outside world, it sparks confusion and terror. Some see the chosen as dangerous beings, Others view them as divine or cursed, and many cannot decide if they should approach with reverence or flee in fear. The balance between the ordinary and extraordinary collapses when hidden powers are recorded. And suddenly, what was once myth or speculation becomes living, undeniable truth. The chosen themselves feel the weight of this exposure differently. Some feel a deep dread, knowing that their lives will never return to quiet anonymity. Others sense a kind of freedom, a relief that the truth is finally visible and no longer a burden they must carry alone. Yet even in that relief is a danger, because the more people know, the more vulnerable they become to the envy, fear, and greed of those who would seek to control or destroy what they do not understand. Cameras do not just capture images. They capture the fragile line between safety and danger, between secrecy and revelation, between hiding and becoming known. For the chosen, that line is crossed the moment their hidden powers are recorded, and nothing in their world will remain the same. The world's fear and shock after witnessing undeniable supernatural evidence is unlike anything else, because it challenges the very foundation of what people believe to be true. Human beings are conditioned to rely on logic, science, and the laws of nature, trusting that everything around them can be explained with reason or technology. But when a recording surfaces that shows the impossible happening before their very eyes, the comfort of that certainty is shattered. People watching such footage are not prepared for the sight of objects levitating, lights pulsating with unnatural energy, or shadows moving with intelligence as though alive. They are not prepared to see doors opening without touch, whispers echoing through the silence, or figures appearing and disappearing as if slipping between realms. The mind struggles to find rational explanations, but the footage does not allow space for denial. Fear grips the heart because what has been captured is real, and reality is suddenly far larger and more mysterious than they ever imagined. Shock spreads in waves as the evidence circulates. In one moment, disbelief dominates as many cling to the hope that it must be edited or manipulated, some clever trick designed to fool the eyes. But the more closely they look, the more impossible it becomes to explain away. The movements are too precise, the energy too raw, the events too synchronized with the presence of the one being recorded. The ordinary environment becomes the backdrop to something extraordinary, and that contrast makes it even harder to dismiss. What shakes people most is not the presence of these supernatural powers, but the realization that they were not performed on some distant stage or in a mystical land. They happened inside the walls of a normal house, in the very kind of place they live in themselves, suggesting that such power could be closer to their own lives than they ever imagined. The fear deepens because humanity has always feared the wall. Unknown. The idea that someone among them could control unseen forces, could bend reality in ways others cannot, awakens both awe and dread. Some viewers immediately leap to dark conclusions, calling it demonic, dangerous, or a sign of an impending threat. Others fall into silence, unable to process what they've seen, but marked by the unease that life will never feel the same again. The recording becomes more than just evidence. It becomes a mirror reflecting humanity's, reminding them that they are not as in control of their world as they believed. Shock turns to speculation, and speculation fuels division. There are those who feel drawn to the chosen, convinced they are messengers of something divine, protectors with gifts meant to guide. Yet at the same time, others believe they are cursed beings who threaten the natural order. This split in perception creates tension and chaos. Fearful minds begin to wonder if they are safe, if power like that could be turned against them, if the chosen ones will remain hidden or rise to take control. The imagination amplifies the fear, making it greater than even the recorded footage itself. What people cannot explain, they demonize, and what they demonize, they often try to destroy. Even those who do not react with anger or hostility feel an unsettling sense of smallness. The existence of such undeniable power makes them question everything they thought they knew about life, faith, and destiny. If this is possible, what else lies beyond the veil of ordinary perception? If chosen ones walk among them, what role do ordinary people play in the story of existence? These questions linger long after the shock fades, keeping fear alive in a quieter but more enduring form. The supernatural evidence recorded does not simply scare people in the moment. It plants seeds of doubt that grow into an unshakable awareness of the unknown. The world, confronted with proof of what it cannot control or explain, is forced to accept that the boundaries of reality are far more fragile and mysterious than anyone dared to believe. Destiny unfolding as the chosen ones can no longer conceal. Their true nature begins as a slow unraveling, like a thread pulled from a tightly woven fabric. For so long, those with hidden powers have been able to move silently through the world, blending in, hiding their gifts behind the mask of ordinary life. They've learned to suppress their instincts, to hold back their strength, and to bury the signs of their connection to forces beyond human comprehension. But destiny is not something that can be delayed forever. It waits, it watches, and it pushes forward when the moment is right, revealing the truth in ways that no one can stop. The recordings of their power are not accidents, they are markers of timing, the signal that the season of hiding has ended and the season of revelation has begun. When their abilities are captured on camera, when undeniable evidence spreads through screens and devices, the chosen can no longer pretend that they are just like everyone else. Their true nature is written in the energy they command, in the shadows that obey them, in the unseen currents that bend at their will. What was once private is now public, and what was once controlled is now exposed. They begin to feel the shift not only in how others view them, but in how they view themselves. For years, their identity was defined by concealment, but now it must be redefined by power and purpose. The call of destiny grows louder with every eye that watches, with every whisper that spreads, with every fearful or awed reaction that ripples across the world. The chosen may resist at first, longing for the quiet life they once knew, but destiny does not yield to longing. It demands acceptance, and it demands courage. They feel an inner stirring, a recognition that this was always meant to happen, that their path was never about permanent silence. The very fact that their power has been revealed in such a dramatic and undeniable way is proof that their role in the unfolding story